Ah, Paris, the Seine in winter, the view from the steps of Sacré-Cœur, Notre Dame, the Tour Eiffel, the sights, the smells, the cuisine. And what better to warm the Parisian soul after a long day walking along the banks of the Seine in the cold than a hearty steaming bowl of gratiné à l'oignon.
This week on Working Class Foodies.
So, French onion soup, actually in France, it's not French onion soup because you wouldn't go into a restaurant in France and order French onion soup because it's already French just by being in France. Just call it onion soup. Anyway, so in France it's called a gratiné à l'oignon, and gratiné just means anything that's covered in melted cheese. So this is onions covered in melted cheese. Delicious. It's one of the best winter dishes anyone could possibly eat. C'est magnifique. French onion soup is best with a homemade beef stock or veal stock or even vegetable stock if you're vegetarian. It's a great alternative. But the thing is, we aren't always so good at planning ahead and having beef or veal or vegetable stock homemade in our freezer or in our fridge. When we get home from a long day of work on a cold winter day and we just want something warm and hearty and filling, sometimes it is okay to use a high quality store-bought beef broth. So you slice 3 pounds of onions.
When I met you in the graveyard, I could not predict how I'd feel right now.
And you separate them into their little individual segments.
Oh, the pain. Oh. Oh my god, this hurts so much.
And then you melt about 3 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil together in a large stock pot.
I'll think of you all the time.
Then crush and peel about 4 to 6 cloves of garlic.
Of having you near.
And caramelize those just slightly in the olive oil and butter.
5 to 6 big.
Then add in all of your onions and stir around just to get them all coated in the butter and olive oil.
I don't tremble.
And add a little salt and pepper. And I added in a couple of sprigs of fresh thyme and a bay leaf. A lot of people would probably add this when they add in the stock, but I wanted the flavors of the thyme and the bay leaf to be in the onions as much as in the broth, so I put them in now. You can pull them out later before you serve the soup. You let the onions sit in the pot and let them brown. Don't stir them around too much or they'll never caramelize. Just stir them around as often as you need to make sure they caramelize evenly. It's going to take about 20 minutes for all of the onions to caramelize and cook down a little bit. While they're doing that, we're going to take a quick break. But let us know what you think. Leave us a comment, rate the video, and make sure to subscribe to our channel. And hey, if you're enjoying Working Class Foodies, let the world know. Vote us Best New Show in the 2010 Streamies. You can vote once a day, and it only takes a couple seconds, so get to it.
So now the onions are caramelized. It took about 20 minutes to get them to this point. And we're going to add in our beef stock. You could also use veal stock, vegetable stock. You could use a combination of beef, veal, chicken, whatever you like. Really, make it up to you. And our wine.
We used a Côte de Rhum. We used about half the bottle, which meant that we had the other half to drink with dinner. Not bad.
And you could also use beer instead of wine. So add in as much beef stock and wine as you need to get the right ratio of liquid to onions. It's kind of a personal thing. I kind of like my soup to be very thick with lots of onions in it. Stir it around to let all the flavors incorporate. Let the soup cook down until it's a little bit thicker and very unctuous and sweet and rich. You can always, of course, adjust the seasoning. It's going to take about an hour or 2 to cook down, and you're going to just kind of want to let it do its own thing. Taste every once in a while, add more beef stock or more wine as needed. Meanwhile, I took a nice crusty French baguette, sliced it down, and then broiled or toasted my slices so they were nice and just slightly brown on both sides. So I have these cute little crock pots that are actually made for onion soup. If you don't have them, not a problem. You can also use a coffee mug. Works really well. Anything ceramic that can hold up to high temperatures is fine. It's time to grate the cheese. Some people like to put just one like deli sliced sheet of cheese across the top of the bowl, and I like to use a couple of different cheeses together. A Gouda, a Gruyere, a Parmesan, and a Pecorino. And I grated them together into a bowl, sort of toss it around to combine them, and then put a slice of bread in the bottom of each bowl, cover with soup, then another slice of toast, and stuff to the top of the bowls with cheese. When it kind of drapes over and melts over, it gets bubbly and delicious. Sort of seal the soup in. That's what makes it a gratinée. Put the soups in a pan to catch any soup that might drip out the sides. And broil the soup until the cheese is melted and bubbly.
Yeah, I think that I smell pretty good. Who doesn't? Does this mean that I think for myself? Am I a rebel or a renegade? If everybody follows my lead.
So we made a rather large pot of soup, made 8 servings of soup. The total cost for our French onion soup was $22 for the onions, the bread, the cheese, the wine, and the broth. But that's 8 servings, which comes down to $2.75 per serving. A little more expensive than canned soup, but mon dieu, c'est bon. So now it's your turn. If you have a fantastic recipe for French onion soup, or if you have a favorite Parisian bistro food, or even just a favorite winter soup recipe, let us know. Send us a comment, post on the blog, or even better, send us a video response. We'd love to see what you guys have to share. Stay hungry, and we'll see you next time on Working Class Foodies. Are you looking for a few new drink recipes for your next party? Check out 12-second cocktails right here on Hungry Nation for some delicious and speedy drink recipes from some of the country's best mixologists. Do it.